Think you are fasting perfectly? You are watching the clock, you are skipping breakfast, and you feel like you are doing everything right. But despite all that discipline, your belly fat will not budge. The scale looks stuck, your energy is flatlining halfway through the day, and you are starting to wonder if this whole fasting thing is just a scam. You might be sabotaging yourself without even realizing it. There is a specific fasting mistake that most people make, a silent error that secretly blocks fat loss even when you think you are in a fasted state. It is frustrating, common, and it is completely avoidable. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to fix it and finally see the results you have been working so hard for. I have helped hundreds of people lose stubborn belly fat without resorting to crazy, unsustainable diets. I have seen the same patterns over and over again. The biggest misconception is that fasting is about suffering or starving yourself. It is not. It is about understanding how your biology works. This is about metabolic mechanics, not willpower. If you want practical fat loss tips that actually work with your physiology instead of against it, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Let's get into the science of why you are stuck and how to get moving again. To understand the mistake, we first have to understand why intermittent fasting for fat loss works in the first place. It is not just about calories. If it were just about calories, you could eat candy bars all day as long as you stayed under a limit and feel great, but we know that doesn't work. Fasting works because it flips a metabolic switch in your body. In simple terms, your body has two primary fuel sources. It can burn sugar, which comes from the food you just ate, or glycogen stored in your liver, or it can burn body fat. It cannot effectively do both at the same time. When you eat, your hormone insulin rises. Think of insulin as a storage controller. When insulin is high, your body is in storage mode. It takes energy and puts it into your cells. Crucially, when insulin is high, fat burning is locked out. You physically cannot burn body fat when insulin is present in significant amounts. Fasting lowers insulin levels. When you stop eating for a set period, your blood sugar drops, insulin flatlines, and your body is forced to switch fuel sources. It moves from burning the sugar in your bloodstream to unlocking those fat stores on your hips and stomach. That is the magic zone. That is where the transformation happens. But here is the sneaky part, and this is where the core problem lies. Even tiny, seemingly insignificant spikes in insulin can halt this entire process. You might think you are in the fat burning zone, but if you introduce the wrong compound into your body, you slam the brakes on fat loss immediately. You switch back to storage mode, but because you aren't eating a full meal, you just end up tired, hungry, and not burning fat. This leads us directly to the first and most common mistake: hidden insulin triggers. We call this dirty fasting, and it is the reason you aren't seeing changes in the mirror. You wake up and you want your morning coffee. That's fine, but then you add just a splash of milk, or maybe you use a sugar-free creamer, or perhaps you are taking BCAAs, branched-chain amino acids, before your workout because you are terrified of losing muscle. Maybe you are chewing gum that says sugar-free on the packet. Here's the reality check. Anything that tastes sweet or contains protein can trigger an insulin response. Even if a sweetener has 0 calories, your brain tastes sweet and signals your pancreas to release insulin in anticipation of sugar. This is called the cephalic phase insulin response. Sucralose, aspartame, and even some natural sweeteners can trick your body. The moment that insulin hits your bloodstream, the door to your fat stores slams shut. You have technically broken your fast, biologically speaking, even if you haven't eaten a meal. This is where most people get tripped up. They think fasting isn't working, when in reality, a few small habits are quietly blocking fat loss. That's why I've linked the exact program I recommend below. It's built to support fasting by lowering stress and protecting muscle instead of sabotaging it. You don't need it to keep watching, but it makes applying everything we're about to cover much easier. The same goes for that splash of milk or cream. Dairy contains lactose, milk sugar, and whey protein, which is highly insulinogenic. You might think 50 calories of cream doesn't matter, but from a hormonal standpoint, it matters immensely. It pulls you out of the fasted state. The fix is strict but effective. During your fasting window, you need to stick to plain water, black coffee, or unsweetened tea. No flavors, no creamers, no sweeteners. If you want the results, you have to keep the insulin switch turned off completely. The second major mistake is failing to protect your muscle. Many people treat fasting as just not eating. They cut calories drastically and don't pay attention to what they eat when they do open their window. If you are not careful, your body will not just burn fat, it will burn muscle tissue for energy. This is a disaster for your metabolism. Muscle is expensive tissue. It requires a lot of calories just to exist. If you lose muscle, your resting metabolic rate drops. This is how you end up skinny fat. You lose weight on the scale, but you still feel flabby and your shape doesn't improve. The risk here is that your body interprets the lack of nutrients as a crisis. If you are not stimulating your muscles and feeding them correctly during your eating window, your body sheds that muscle to conserve energy. The fix is prioritizing protein and resistance training. You cannot just fast, you have to feast on the right things when the window opens. This brings us to the most critical part of the day, how you break your fast. This singular moment can dictate whether your body continues to burn fat or stores everything you eat as adipose tissue. Section 3 is about breaking the fast the right way. Imagine your body at the end of a 16 or 18-hour fast. Your cells are like dry sponges. They are incredibly sensitive to insulin. They are screaming for nutrients. Breaking your fast with a bagel, bowl of fruit, or sugary smoothie floods your system with glucose at its weakest. Your blood sugar and insulin will soar compared to before fasting. This enormous insulin surge puts all that energy into fat cells. An hour later, the crash will fatigue you and make you crave junk food. Start with protein and healthy fats. This includes eggs, seafood, lean meats, tofu, and legumes, maybe avocado or nuts. Why? Because protein and lipids affect blood sugar less than carbohydrates. Eat protein and fat first to slowly wake up digestion. You send your brain satiety chemicals to indicate fullness. Buffer insulin reaction. Save carbohydrates. Fruits, grains, starchy vegetables for the end of your meal after protein and fiber. Like creating a wall, start with protein and fiber to restrict absorption. A meal's protein and fat come first, then carbs. This keeps your body burning fat longer after eating and stabilizes energy. Extra advice turbocharge outcomes, but correcting your fast and break fast meal gets you 90% there. Resistance training first. Lift weights or do bodyweight exercises 2-4 times per week. Muscle increases glucose storage as glycogen rather than fat, enhancing insulin sensitivity. Push-ups, squats, and lunges at home signify muscle preservation without a gym. At every meal, prioritize high-quality protein. Protein burns more calories than fat or carbs and fills you up. Insufficient protein in your prior meal might make fasting uncomfortable. Never compromise on hydration. Hunger frequently indicates dehydration. Low insulin causes kidneys to flush water and salt, causing headaches and dizziness during fasting. Maintain electrolytes with water and high-quality salt. Dehydration slows metabolism and creates energy dumps, causing poor eating choices. Avoid grazing. Eat large, distinct meals during your eating window. Constant munching raises insulin, inhibiting fat burning. Stop for a hearty meal. Full supper, stop, keep structure tight. This is exactly why most people struggle doing fasting alone. They don't have a structure that supports muscle, hormones, and recovery at the same time. That's why the program I linked below focuses on short, low-stress bodyweight workouts that enhance fat loss instead of sabotaging it. It's designed to help your body burn fat, maintain muscle, and improve mobility without a gym and without long workouts. It fits perfectly with fasting because it supports insulin sensitivity instead of raising stress. Big myth, starvation mode from skipping breakfast. It's false. Starvation mode only happens after days without eating or severe calorie restriction. Short-term intermittent fasting boosts metabolism by releasing noradrenaline. Fasting resets hormones and settles your digestive system. Keep insulin low during the fast. Avoid sweeteners, creamers, and flavors. Protect muscle with resistance exercise and enough protein, and break your fast smartly with protein and fats to avoid insulin spikes. Try these strategies today to lose stubborn abdominal fat. Cleanse your coffee, prioritize protein, and see your energy and weight stable. If this helped, hit like to share, subscribe to change your health, and remark your results. I want to hear your progress. Thanks for watching. See you next time.